Welcome again, Internet, to the idle ramblings of your favorite Scolopendra. Well, actually, those of you who like centipedes probably have a different favorite Scolopendra. But as I might be otherwise the only Scolopendra you know, I am by default your favorite. Yeah, sorry about that. Anyway, the crime and the glory of being human. I use that phrase a lot, the crime and the glory. It comes from a short story by Cordwainer Smith about a space commander who basically breaks the laws of his civilization in order to save it. And he says, he saved society, but we're still going to have to banish you to the worst place in the universe for it. And it struck a chord with me because the crime and the glory is pretty much, to me, one of the core essences of being human. We are capable of tremendous crime, as any look at the news will tell you, any look in a history book will tell you. But yet we are also capable of great glory and good. All of the histories of all the decent saints and all the charitable people, all of the people who have worked for science and in trying to improve the human experience. Those who have tried to make life better for others, those who have sacrificed themselves for others. We are capable of many, many things. And we are all capable of good, and we are all capable of evil, in human terms. And I find this to be a highly liberating concept. In a lot of religions, humanity is primarily responsible for evil, but good comes from a higher place. In my viewpoint, humans are responsible for what they do, period. If they're murderers, it's their responsibility. If they are doctors, if they heal the sick and feed the poor, then that is also their responsibility and their credit. Whatever we do, we have only ourselves to blame. The truth lies not in the stars, but our hearts. And so, while reading the news can be rather depressing and reduce one's faith in the human animal, I also see in that all of the progress we have made, the sicknesses we have eliminated, the problems we have solved, that there is still more than enough hope for our species. You can name off the top of your head all sorts of decent people in your life, and all of them are proof positive that humanity is capable of great things, even if it's on a personal level. Because all it takes is one of those decent people to be in a position of appropriate authority or control or power, be it technological or political, and great things can happen. So I'm actually very much an optimist when it comes to humanity. I know that we'll never really achieve a Star Trek, United Federation of Planets level of cohesiveness. The human animal just doesn't support that sort of thing. But we can come reasonably close and continue progressing as close as we can to ideals similar, I think. There's always going to be grim and dark in the world. That's the nature of things. That is simply how they are and how, not how they must be, but how they will be because of inefficiencies in the system. But we have made much progress, and we will continue to, I think. People look at our highly technological society, and they see nothing but ills that technology has wrought. Well, we're also talking about all of the good things technology has wrought as well. A lot of people would not be alive today if it weren't for vaccinations, if it weren't for modern medical science, if it weren't for modern agricultural techniques and whatnot. So, science has created has solved problems and created new problems, and the solution to those problems is more science. any species, any empire, any social structure, any organization must grow to survive. Really, you can't really just put something in a small box and expect it to sustain forever. No, you'll constantly have to expand and grow and improve oneself, or else one stagnates and dies. It's really that simple. And I think that through science and technology, through philosophy, through humanism, through the moderate rationalism of treating other people decently, through essentially optimistic philosophies, that we will eventually solve what problems we have today, a lot of them at least. And yes, there will be new problems in the future, but that simply gives us new worlds to conquer. So, I guess another problem with that why my worldview has changed from when I was a particularly religious person as opposed to merely a faithful person, is that I don't believe in falling from grace or collapsing from perfection. Perfection never was. Perfection never will be. Perfection is, unless you look at the universe as a whole, as this cunningly contrived by the very nature of its laws, this very beautiful artifact. In human terms, there is no perfection. But looking at human history, it's had its ups and downs, but it has generally been spiraling upwards. We have generally improved the livelihoods of people. We've generally improved their living conditions. And do we have problems because of that? Well, yes. When people stop dying of plagues, then you start getting into Malthusian problems. I'll be the first to admit. But the way forward is certainly not running back to the trees. The way forward, and I might just be a silly kid raised on science fiction and other things, the way forward is up and out. And I think that there's a lot of potential for the future, and I look forward to seeing it. Will there be bumps in the road? Of course there will be. But I am confident that we will overcome, even if by sheer tenacity, whatever we happen to inflict upon ourselves. Global warming, if this is probably very likely we won't solve climate change until it hits us, well, we'll survive it. We'll learn from it. We'll get better. Will it be hard? Of course it will be. But that's life. Will we eventually expand our dominion to the other planets? Will we expand through the solar system? Well, at some point we're going to have to. Will we break the light speed barrier? I'd like to think so. But that's just because science will continue to expand our understanding, and we will learn things that we thought were previously impossible, but we'll still explain the things that science currently explains. Science will become less wrong than it is, as it usually does, and good guys will win, bad guys will lose, and as always, humanity will prevail.